Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 13, Episode 6, Stop and Throw the Roses. Okay, well, we pick up in the unfortunate spot we left off last week with Ebony leaving Luann's house, and it looks like Sonia and Heather might be leaving with her. Ebony said, "You don't have to leave with me. These are your friends, you should stay, but I'm not going to be somewhere where I'm not wanted." Inside, Luann is talking to Ramona. Luann goes, "She is angry. She brought up race. I never once mentioned the color of her skin." Side note, I am very curious to see if her daughter Victoria can be any help here in this situation. Ramona, "She has issues." Yeah, she does. You are her issues. Outside, Heather's like, this just blew up into a mushroom cloud. And Ebony said, "I know, and I wanted to stay. I don't want it to seem like I'm running from this, but she asked me to leave." And Heather said, "Yeah, she did." In Sonia's confessional, she said, "Women don't want to be called angry." This brings to mind Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last year with Lisa Rinna and Denise fucking Richards, when Lisa said, "Ooh, you're so angry." Oh, God. As much as I loved that as a scene, that is infuriating, So it is true that no women like it. But Sonia said, and if you're a black woman, you avoid saying that. Also, be consistent. If you're going to call the black woman angry, then you need to also call the other screaming women angry, like Leah and Ramona, who were both on their feet yelling. What you don't do is single out the black woman. Okay, so I guess they weren't leaving with Ebony. They were just waiting with her until the Uber came. And so Heather and Sonia go back inside. Luann is still going on about, "She said she was the smartest woman at the table." No, she didn't. Why do I feel like this is still going to be her issue at the reunion? I don't know. Maybe it's going to take Andy Cohen to say, "She didn't say smartest. She said most educated," which is factually correct. Now we see Ebony walking in the door at Ramona's house, and she goes into Leah's room. Leah said, "Where is everybody?" Ebony, "Oh, I don't know. Luann kicked me out of her house." God. Leah goes, "Wait, what?" Ebony, "Yes, Luann called me an angry black woman." Leah's mouth drops. Now, time out. I know that is essentially what Ebony heard Luann say, but if we are being strictly factual, it is only fair to point out that Luann said you are an angry woman. I am not giving Luann a pass for that comment, because for her to call Ebony an angry woman was disgusting to me. But if I'm calling out the other side, I'm going to call this out as well. She did not say angry black woman. In Ebony's confessional, she said, "Society does not allow black women a range of emotions, or even just passion, and it's a problem." Side note, this is very reminiscent of what Garcelle on Housewives of Beverly Hills was saying to Kyle. So the question, as I see it, is how many black women are going to have to say this to us before we get it and change our dialogue? Anyway, Ebony goes on in her confessional to say that, "I want my friend Luann to give me more credit than that." Okay, so now we are watching like dueling conversations that we keep cutting back and forth to. The one between Ebony and Leah at Ramona's house, where Ebony is filling Leah in on everything she missed. How Luann said, "It's not about class, it's about education." Ebony's like, and once she said that, I had to flex a little bit and say, if we're talking about education, I have the most education of anybody at this table. And the conversation at Luann's house between the rest of the ladies and Victoria and Nicole, and a fully clothed Kurt. Heather is like defending Ebony, saying she should be proud of her education. Luann, "I'm proud of her too." At the other house, Ebony says to Leah, "Then Luann thought that I was saying she was an uneducated person and said to me, 'Why are you so angry?' I said, 'You're calling me an angry black woman?' And Luann said, 'I didn't say black.'" Side note, at least Ebony is retelling the story accurately. Most of these women do not. They retell it the way they heard it in their own head, not always factual. This is pretty accurate, though. Heather is trying to educate Luann by saying, yeah, when you use the word angry, unfortunately, and I know you just meant it as an adjective. Luann, well, she was clearly angry. Victoria, upset. You say upset, Mom. So they are. I was wondering if the younger people were going to kind of enlighten Luann and Ramona here. So Luann said, okay, maybe upset would have been a better word. Heather said, yeah, I know she was. And then she turned to Ramona and she said, when she said to you about your white fragility, Ramona, yeah, I have no idea what that means. Heather, I know you don't. Ebony knew you didn't either. That's why she began to explain it and then was interrupted. Heather goes, so you say to her, what does that mean? The onus is on us right now. Ramona, she was acting so upset, I didn't know what to say. Again, this irritates me. Yes, she was as agitated as anybody else, not more so. And she was less agitated than Leah, who just blasted you. And I don't understand this. If I'm not to believe that this is racist, then I don't understand why you feel so attacked by Ebony and not Leah. If that has nothing to do with race, then you're going to have to explain that to me, because I don't get it. Heather is now telling the ladies that, that thing with you and Leah, Ramona, that's easy. That'll get fixed. That's no big deal. But the thing with Ebony, that's serious. And you're going to have to go there and apologize to her. Luann looks taken aback, like, are you kidding me? Heather goes, Luann, I know you got in a fight, and I know you felt attacked in your own home. That's your turf. I get it. And Luann said, it's not about my turf. It's about how she reacted toward me, and that's uncalled for. Heather goes, well, not in her mind. In Heather's confessional, she said, instead of seeing any pain and suffering by the other person, righteousness comes into play. You have to strip the ego and just listen to someone else's perspective. Okay, I have to reluctantly admit that Heather is making sense right now. And as a neutral third party, she is actually getting Luann to settle down and listen to her. So that's productive. I mean, this is the problem with Heather, though. She is a little preachy. She goes on to say that it is our responsibility as white women to push pause on our reactions and our defensiveness and say, wait a minute, what did I do to make you feel that way? Cut to Ebony, who is not being calmed down by Leah, by the way. Leah is probably fueling her to feel even stronger about her position. Ebony said, I hated that with Luann, though, because I thought we were friends. And she just let it out. Everything she's been feeling about me. I'm pretentious. I'm a black angry bitch. Or you think you're better than people. No, Lou, that's your feeling. Save that for someone else. So instead of calming her down, Leah said, that's who she is. She thinks she's better than everybody else. Way to mediate, Leah. No, I mean, she is empathizing with Ebony, and I think that's okay. I think that's what Ebony needs right now. After what I see as some kind of gaslighting going on, or at the very least, a double standard. I think Ebony could use someone in her corner. In Leah's confessional, she said, well, Ebony's a better woman than I will ever be. Yeah, we know. Because I probably would have burned that house down if I were her. All right, Sonia and Heather come in the front door now at Ramona's house. And it's dark out, so I don't know how long they were there, or I'm not clear. Heather goes looking for Leah and Ebony, and they are in Leah's room, and they're both in matching robes sitting on the bed. Leah says to Heather, oh, it seems like I missed an even more disgusting display of judgment after I left. Ebony goes, yeah, well, you set it off, girl. Okay, we see Luann walking in the front door now, so they probably all just came home in the same van. So Heather gets up and closes the bedroom door so that, I don't know, I guess they can chat. They're all kind of whispering, and Leah said, Luann is surprising me on this trip. She's been weird on this trip. And Heather's like, I know, to call a black woman angry, you're just starting a problem. You have to remember, Luann's ego comes first. Side note, it might not really matter in this case, but I do think it should be reiterated that Ebony was not even acting as angry as everybody else. She was frustrated as much as anyone. It was nothing compared to Leah. That's the thing I'm stuck on, I guess. So Ebony said, yeah, I can't hang out in a friend group that's not going to have the consciousness to say Ebony's experience in this country is vastly different than mine. Okay, Heather, you were doing so good. Why? Why don't you know when to keep your mouth shut? Anyway, Heather feels the need to, I don't know, contradict Ebony about Ebony's own experience. She says, well, I have a different lens on it because I have been in the homes, in the core of Black America, and it's a beautiful place, and I'm so happy about my experience. Oh, God. I want to smack her. Are you kidding me? Please tell me you're not challenging Ebony about who knows more about the Black experience. Why she had to have a different perspective, why she had to put a different lens on it, I have no idea. Ebony goes, I would like to know more about that. No, really, I would like to know. She was, I think she could have been sarcastic, but I guess she was just genuinely curious. Heather. Well, I worked for Puffy for 5 years. I worked for Beyonce. Okay. Those are your examples of what Black people in this country are going through? Ebony said, no, I'm talking about real Black America, not like hip hop in the entertainment industry. Heather goes, oh, I'm not talking about Puffy because that's like fake Black America. Like, she just needs to be quiet, right? It's not just me. I mean, you do like to get preachy, don't you? Ebony's like, yeah, because that's like extremely elite class. Oh, yeah, but there were like people that worked there that like made no money, were interning, you know? I was involved in Black culture. More than Ebony? Is that why you felt like you needed to challenge what Ebony said? In her confessional, Ebony said, okay, so Heather does have an elevated sense of awareness of the Black community, but she can over-familiarize herself with some aspects of Black culture in a way that makes me slightly uncomfortable. Yeah, I get that. Like, why did Heather have to almost correct Ebony with her I have Black friends too story? I mean, to be fair, I'm sure part of it was to let all of us know that she worked for Beyonce and P. Diddy. But it didn't make sense for her to tell Ebony, I have a different lens on it. Ebony said she wants to hang around white people who have an understanding that her experience in America as a Black woman is different than theirs. Why would Heather have to have a different lens on that? So anyway, Heather says, okay, so Luann is here. You don't have to educate her. All you have to do is explain what you meant that she didn't hear. Ebony agrees to talk to Luann, but she hopes what she apologizes for is defaulting to a very stereotypical trope about women of color and their emotions. Okay, so all the women are getting ready to go to dinner now. Oh, I guess not out to dinner. The plan is that they're all supposed to cook together at home, something easy, and just hang out and have fun. Ramona brought fun aprons for everyone, and she tries hers on for Sonia. She wants it to be a fun bonding moment over cooking. Oh my God. It's one of those fake like bikini bodies on the front of an apron. Okay. In her confessional, Ramona said, things have gotten too heavy and dismal, and we have to talk through it. It's complicated. This is not easy stuff. Now Heather goes into Luann's room to get her to agree to talk to Ebony. Luann, well, she was up off her seat in my face. Heather, well, there was something you said that set her off. Luann, that she misunderstood. Yes and no. You actually said it wrong. You omitted the word Catholic when you said education, which makes all the difference. You think Ebony would have been that upset if you said, well, it's because of our Catholic education? No. Okay, so Luann is very willing to talk. She said, if I offended someone, I want to know so I can fix it. The problem is, Luann misunderstood something too. She seems to think that education and intelligence are interchangeable, and that what Ebony was actually saying was that she was the smartest woman at the table. But Luann took it even further to mean Ebony thinks Luann is uneducated. I mean, that was a leap Luann took all on her own. None of the other women at the table thought she was saying that they were uneducated. Okay, so all the women are together now, sitting on the couch, and they're gonna have this big talk about race. Ebony begins, and she said, Lou, I wanted to talk to you because I was very disappointed. I hold you in high regard, and I hope you know that. When you called me angry, that was unacceptable. Whether you're aware of this or not, calling a Black woman angry has a very long stereotypical history. Now, I admit that I raised my voice, but calling me that seemed like you were painting me with a very broad brush, which we unfortunately do in this country when a black woman shows up in a way that we don't like. It hurt me, Luann. I would like to be able to show my anger without being called angry because it triggers the angry black woman stereotype. She tells Luann that she worked her whole life, her work in the media, at Fox, to try and never show up as the angry black woman because she felt a responsibility to the black women that she represented on these platforms. Luann, thank you. Well taken. I didn't really understand that angry sets off that kind of reaction. I didn't say it to belittle you or make you feel less than. That's not me. So for that, I am sorry. But I think it was a major miscommunication. I was upset. This was in my home. I have my daughter there. So my Taurus horns came up. You have to educate me on that. Ramona, all of us. Yeah, all of us. Luann said, I apologize. I got so upset. I don't, And Ebony said, I appreciate that. I do. And I accept that. Luann. And, I would hope you would extend the same to me. Ebony. So you want me to apologize for making you upset? I want you to apologize for how you upset me as well. Oh, God. Now, I was confused at this point, but I'm reserving judgment because I don't know where Luann is going with this. I thought she wanted an apology for making her feel like she was uneducated or for saying I'm more educated than everybody else. Because Luann still thinks that means smarter, and that's definitely what I thought she wanted the apology for. But anyway, Sonia said, well, tell us why you were upset. Luann, well, it upset me that, you were yelling and that you wouldn't, listen. And you got, upset with me over something I didn't really understand. Oh, boy. Like I said, I thought she was going to say, you made me feel bad for thinking that I'm not as smart as you. But nope. She wants Ebony to apologize for yelling and making Luann upset. Sonia, well, that's frustrating, but who should be the one apologizing here? Again, Sonia, is anybody listening to her? No, Heather feels the need to step in again. Blah, blah, blah. Luann goes, I truly am sorry if I triggered you by saying angry. Really, truly. And Ebony said, and I receive that and I accept it. But the reason why I won't apologize to you is because there's an expectation of me apologizing for having a natural reaction to a very deep-seated triggering word. So I can't apologize to you for that. But I want to acknowledge that my dear friend over here, Miss Leah, called y'all hoes to your faces and cussed you out, and nobody called her angry. In fact, she was told, Leah, calm down, come back to the table, because she wasn't held to that standard of anger. This is literally Luann's response. Oh, I didn't think she was calling me a hoe. Yeah, that's probably why she was laughing. Leah. No, I called you all hoes. Ramona, well, she gets a pass because her grandmother's dying. Ebony goes, so is mine, Ramona. Listen, I take you at your word, Luann, but this notion of whose burden it is to educate, I just want to be straightforward with both of you. And Sonia goes, it's not yours. Ebony, it's not my responsibility. Ramona, I'm not asking you to. Oh, my God. Roll footage to 5 minutes ago. Luann says, well, you'll have to educate me on that. And Ramona said, all of us. Anyway, Ebony's response was sweetly. You said it sweetly, but you did say it. And Ramona goes, well, I want to teach you how to cook tonight. Ebony, okay, but we're not going to deflect. We're not going to do that. In Sonia's confessional, she said, we're white privileged ladies. The burden is on us. Nobody's turning the page and moving forward. We have to read the page, feel the pain, be a little bit awkward, and then we can turn some more pages. Guys, I have been Team Sonia for like 2 weeks in a row now. Luann, well, maybe you could be a little more patient. Ebony, I think I'm pretty patient, Lou. Sonia, I do too. Ebony said, and I know that to be true because of all the work I've put in. I'm not new to this. Heather, pontificates again. Would it be bad if when Heather talks, I use that adult voice in the Charlie Brown movies? Wah, 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 wah. Because that's what I hear when Heather speaks. I mean, she had that one moment when I was like, okay, now it's just, she just has to hear her own voice? Is that what's happening? Heather, I hate when you make me agree with Leah. Because in her confessional, she said, white people need to kind of shut up right now and listen. So shut the fuck up, Heather, and let's listen. I mean, listen, Heather is basically saying the right things, or at least she's trying to, but she's so sanctimonious. Also, it feels to me like she wants Ebony to hear how woke she is. That's what I'm loving about Sonia. She gets it, but without being so preachy. You know, Sonia doesn't feel the need to make a big speech about it, but she interjects with little comments that let you know that she gets it. I don't know, just my advice is, Heather, when you're in the room with a black woman, maybe let her speak to the black experience. You know, maybe sit that one out. Anyway, Ebony says, nobody is above reproach, and that includes me, Luann. I always say, the minute you think you're ripe, you begin to rot. I've not ever heard that phrase. I'm trying to guess I think I know what it means. Anyway, Luann goes, well, I hope it's still been the best day. And Ebony said, I think it's been the most honest day, and therefore it's been the best day. And those two hug. And Ebony tells Ramona, I'm sorry I'm not going to partake in your delicious food, but I think I'm just going to order some comfort food and go to my room tonight. Side note, guys, I love that she takes care of herself. You know, like, it has been a day, right? And now, like, you know, she's supposed to be doing this, let's all have fun cooking in the kitchen with our zany aprons. And she's like, no, I think I need to just like pamper myself right now, have a little bit of downtime. As she's saying goodnight to everybody, she says goodnight to Sonia, and Sonia's like, she's a good person, but you know, she's a diva. And Ebony said, hey, everyone makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Sonia goes, no, I'm a loser. And Ebony said, no, you're not. You're a queen, actually. And I want you to know that about yourself. Sonia gets a little bit quiet, and she goes, you know, Leah said that to me too, that you pointed out that I'm underestimated, and I really need to get a little better self-esteem. And Ebony said, girl, you are high worth. And that's coming from a woman of high worth. In her confessional, Ebony said, Sonia lets her friends classify her as a less than valuable woman. Yeah, it was killing me that no one was listening to her last week. But Ebony knows, you know? Ebony knows that Sonia, probably more than anyone else, gets it. Okay, so Ebony goes to her room. Leah is there too, and they're still in their robes. So I guess Leah's not going to make dinner with people either. Anyway, Heather comes in, and she's looking for, is my bag in here? And they said, oh yeah, there it is. So she goes to grab her purse. And side note, what is up with the sound in this room? It's like they weren't able to mic this room or something. It sounds very echoey and weird. Anyway, Heather tells Ebony, great job out there, by the way. And Ebony said, thank you. And because Heather can't shut up, wah, 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 she says, you're very articulate. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that before. Leah's eyes get like really big. Ebony just says, yeah, I've heard that a couple of times. And Heather smiles and closes the door behind her, and off she goes. And then Ebony turns to Leah and said, okay, that's also a microaggression, by the way. Leah's like, how does she not know that? Ebony said, she meant well, so I'm going to give her a pass. Okay, this next scene is the next morning, and so we never even saw them making dinner in their wacky aprons. I don't know, maybe they just decided not to do that? Maybe no one wanted to? I don't know. So Ramona and Sonia are in their room, of course, and Ramona said, last night I was thinking, which is always frightening, what would I feel like if I was the only white chick with a bunch of black chicks? I'm just laughing at the use of chick. So it should be noted that she's holding two fans in front of her, like she's about to do some burlesque dance. I don't know. The fans say more is more. Ramona, it just made me aware that there are differences, and I really have to empathize with others and their struggles. And maybe sometimes I'm just in my own little world. Sonia goes, oh boy, you can say that again. In her confessional, Ramona said that Ebony has opened her eyes. And she's like, all of a sudden I'm Googling all these things and educating myself in a different way than I ever have before. Listen, everybody has to start somewhere, and, better than her ignoring everything they talked about the night before and not doing it. Next, we see Ebony in the living room, and she is on the phone with her friend Devin, who is a world-class matchmaker, and she's telling her, I have a really good friend, a new friend, who is quickly becoming a fast friend. She's got a really good heart. She's beautiful. She's smart. And her name is Sonia, and I would like to find love for her. So Devin agrees to help. I thought that was cute. Okay, now Ramona comes out to the kitchen where Luann and Sonia are, and she tells them it's 11:20 and we have to leave here at noon to go fishing, and then lunch is at 1:30. Apparently, according to Ramona, Sonia loves fishing. Now that I would not have guessed. Side note, how many pairs of pants is Leah wearing today? Actually, I secretly love this look. I just love seeing stuff I've never seen before, So she goes into the bathroom where Sonia is getting ready, and Sonia looks at her and she goes, oh my God, are we in London or going fishing? I mean, that's exactly, well, not exactly, but that is very similar to what Heather said when you guys were all dressed up and she said, are we painting or what? Anyway, in Sonia's confessional, she said, I never ask if Leah is dressed appropriately for the occasion. She's dressed as Leah. So they all get in the van, and Luann says to Heather, oh, it's going to be so fun tonight. And it's our last night, so that makes it even better. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but I can't help but notice that Luann's baton is sitting in a basket next to a hula hoop. So maybe a local talent show? Ramona says, how many people are we having tonight? 10? Luann, yeah, with Hank and us and the girls. And I was going to say, you can invite whoever. And Ramona said, no, I'm just having a good time with you girls. Okay, so Luann gives us the lowdown now. She planned a party for their last night at Topping Rose, the ladies' favorite place in the Hamptons. Do you remember when they went to the Hamptons and there was all that tension between Carol and Bethany? And normally Carol always stays at Bethany's house, but this time she and Tinsley stayed at Topping Rose because it's also an inn, I guess. Anyway, Luann tells us, we're going to get dressed up for Halloween, and it's a 1970s inspired beauty pageant. Flashback to Luann planning all this with Ramona. They're at an outdoor cafe, and Luann said, since we can't have a lot of people with COVID, we have to have some kind of fun. And Ebony's an ex-beauty queen. I was in Miss Connecticut. Ramona, oh, she was? I didn't know that. Yes, and did you hear the part about me being in Miss Connecticut? Okay, now we are at Georgia Beach, and this is where the ladies are going to fish. Side note, do you see how these people are dressed? I don't know who they are, but I'm assuming they're normal people who dress more normally than the housewives do. Anyway, I would like you to remember and appreciate that just yesterday around lunchtime, Kurt stood outside naked, long enough for the women to paint him. Naked. These people are in their puffer coats. My point is, Kurt is the unsung hero of this story. Also, I took this screenshot solely because we will never see Heather and Leah this close again. Okay, so we meet Mark, who is the fisherman who's going to be teaching them how to surf cast, and he's passing waiters out to all the ladies. Well, not Luann and Leah. They are sitting this one out, and they've gone off to another part of the beach where they're practicing with the props for the talent portion of the competition. Ebony thinks that Sonia is flirting with Mark, the fisherman, because she likes a dad bod. I know. Mark's got one. Later we see just her and Mark, and he's like teaching her how to cast. And the other three women are just looking, and Ebony goes, she's on a date. Ramona, I think you're right. So Ebony tries it, and she gets too far out into the surf. Everyone's yelling her, get back, because like the water's practically up to her waist. Anyway, she says that she's not ready to die, so she hangs up her fishing pole and heads over to where the others are sitting on the beach with blankets and a glass of wine. She ends up sitting next to Luann, who tells her, I just want you to know I think very highly of you. And I woke up this morning still feeling bad about it. Ebony said, listen, nobody's perfect, and women in general are just too hard on themselves. But the conversation last night isn't something we can just like put a bow on and say we're done. Now Sonia and Heather give up the fishing, and they all go to where the table is set up for a picnic lunch. Ebony kind of pulls Sonia aside before they sit down, and she compliments her on being kind and compassionate, standing up for what's right. Ebony said, and you've been so welcoming to me. And Sonia said, oh, well, you're easy to welcome. So Ebony gets to the point, which is, I want to find love for you. So I called my girlfriend, Devin, who lives right now in Philadelphia, but she'll be coming back to the city. And she is a brilliant matchmaker. Sonia, oh, Philadelphia is my second home. That's where my kid goes to school. And Ebony goes, oh, there's great guys in Philly. This is already aligning. In Sonia's confessional, she said, Ebony is making me feel so special. Like I'm worthy of finding a great match that I can spend my life with. And I'm just lapping up the attention. So as they're eating, Luann talks about the talent show. She starts to tell them what Leah's working on. Leah goes, no, don't tell them. I want to keep it a secret. So Heather is doing a cheerleading routine or something. Luann's got pom-poms for her. Ebony is doing a spoken word piece. Luann gave Sonia like a mime suit. I don't know. Something for her to be a mime. And Ramona is doing push-ups? I don't know. I guess we'll all have to wait for the show. So, conversation's going good. They're having fun. They're sitting on the beach talking. And Ebony invites everyone to come to her home to watch the election results. I'm guessing this is like the end of October 2020 when this is being filmed, because Luann said something about this being a Halloween party kind of thing, this talent show. And then, the election was the beginning of November. So again, I'm just trying to figure out what time of year it is that we made Kurt stand outside naked. So Luann goes, oh, an election party. I love it. Ramona is going to be out of town, so she won't be able to make it, which is probably for the best. Leah says she has become disgusted with politics because she can't stand the way both sides have become. You know what I can't stand? Her hat. Girl, I already blame her for single-handedly bringing back the bucket hat craze. But now this, with the pom-pom and the crazy shape, I don't know. It's like an elf hat. It's hard for me to... Robin Hood, maybe? I can't wrap my brain around this hat. So now Leah and Heather get into this topic of discussion, and why not? Let's see how many hot button issues we can tackle on this reality show. This was supposed to be escapism for me, and I know it's not even fair for me to say I don't want these women to talk about race or politics, because that is reality, and this is a reality show. But it's a lot less fun for me. Anyway, Leah thinks that it's like everyone's in a cult. And Heather says, I don't feel like I'm in a cult. Can I ask you? And Leah's like, before you get on your high horse and you coming at me with your moral high ground or whatever, Heather's like, I was just going to ask you a question. I was just going to ask you if you were going to vote. And Ramona's like, no, she's already said she's disgusted with both sides. So then Leah said, listen, if I'm going to vote, I would vote for Biden. But I hate both sides, stuff that's going on both sides. So then Heather says, well, I mean, the only thing we have right now is our vote to help make a difference. In Leah's confessional, she's attacking Heather, of course. And she goes, of course I'm going to vote. Well, okay, but it didn't sound like it. You said if I vote at all, and you kind of sounded like you might not. I think asking you if you were going to vote was a fair question. Heather ends up calling Leah out for being so mean to her ever since she got there, which, yeah, she pretty much has. Now I have to blame Leah for making me defend Heather. Okay, so now it's the evening of the beauty pageant. All the ladies are getting ready. Ramona is in her room with a sparkly sequin silver dress, and her talent is working out without getting tired. Okay. Downstairs, while Leah and Ebony are getting their glam, Leah gets a phone call from her mom. And we can hear both sides, and Bunny said, I don't know if I explained to you in the text how she is right now. And Leah said, because of the medication? Bunny said, no, it's a combo of that, and it's just the process. And then we don't hear anything else. Leah gets extremely emotional. And she gets up and she leaves and she goes into her room. Crying, still on the phone with her mom. Leah said, I can't believe I'll never talk to her again. And Bunny said, it's hard, but, we don't want to have her keep going on like this. I'm not sure why, but Bravo is editing this scene in a way that I don't like. It's making me uncomfortable. We can hear Leah's gut-wrenching sobs juxtaposed with Luann laughing with the person doing her hair and makeup and looking up pictures of Charlie's Angels because that's the vibe she's going for. I guess it bothers me because Luann is excited about the party they're going to. She doesn't know that Leah just got a phone call from her mom and that Leah is upset and crying. But the way they're cutting it back and forth kind of makes Luann look like a jerk. And, this is probably one of the few times that she isn't being super selfish about it. She's just unaware. Leah explains to us in her confessional that if her grandmother was responsive, she would go home now. And also Leah says, I have a huge family, so I wouldn't even be able to get in to see her. So she's just going to leave tomorrow. When everybody else is leaving, I guess. It isn't so much that I think Leah should leave now. It's that I don't think Leah ever should have come in the first place. Leah comes back downstairs, sits in the makeup chair, and she's crying. Ebony comes over to comfort her now. Leah's makeup artist says, well, I was going to do your eyes red anyway, so we'll just work with it. And he's kind of trying to, gently kind of get her out of it. And I am thinking about Ebony and the fact that she is going through the same thing. And Ebony said that the only blood relatives she has are her mother and her grandmother. I don't know. I do feel like she's being overshadowed by Leah and how hard she's taking it, Anyway, also, I guess Leah is going to be a dead beauty queen. She's got a slit across her throat and blood dripping down. So, not sure how that fits into the 70s theme, but okay, so Heather is with Sonia, and she's helping her with her hair or something. And Heather says, your friend Leah, I have to say, she is so rude to me. She's like, don't get so self-righteous with me. You're the one that said you were disgusted with the political parties. That's why you have to vote. Ebony and Leah now are in Ebony's room. Ebony tells her, when we got back, Heather came into my room to talk to me, and she was bringing up her stupid podcast thing. Honestly, I told her I'm bored with that. Leah, she brought it up again? Ebony, well, you, Leah. Oh, she thinks I'm hard on her. Ebony, I told her, I just don't think it's a vibe with you two. Leah, I just don't like how she has to be involved in every conversation. You're the authority on race. You're the authority on voting. I mean, I get that. Wah, 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 wah. Ebony said she was extremely upset because you weren't voting. I mean, it pains me because the stakes are so high for me and my existence in this country. Leah glosses over that and is like, she said that? Was she talking about me? Ebony goes, no. Was she saying anything about that? Leah asks. Ebony, yeah. She said that she felt like you had a responsibility to vote, and she was really bothered by that. Leah, okay, now we're done. That's it. Gets up, heads out of the bedroom. Ebony's like, oh, shit. I mean, Leah is ignoring the part where Ebony said, I also agree. The stakes are very high this time, and really everyone needs to vote. Anyway, she's at the top of the stairs looking over the railing, and that's where Heather and Sonia are. Leah, Heather, do not talk about me. It's none of your business if I vote or not. You are white feminism 101. You are the problem. You think you're the authority on everything. Do not talk about me or anything I say. Why do you have to be in everybody's business like a Karen? Do you understand what I'm saying? Heather, not really. Leah, fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Don't talk to my friend about me. Heather, are you talking about this friend? Pointing at Sonia. Leah goes, no, Ebony. Leah's now downstairs. Heather, I don't care about anything you have to say. And she's got her hand in her face. Heather goes, clearly, you don't even know me. Leah, no, I do. And what I know, I don't like. Just be quiet for 1 second. You don't need to be a part of every single conversation. You are the problem. Karen's like you. I mean, it's so weird that I half agree with Leah and half is way out there and wrong and whatever. Luann arrives now, comes down the stairs. Oh, you all look fabulous. Oh, she is so bad at reading the room. I'm just loving you guys right now. Look at you. I love it. So while Leah is in her room grabbing her coat to go to this beauty pageant party at Topping Rose, Ebony grabs Heather and she's like, I want to explain what I said to her. You know, she's trying to clear things up between her and Heather. I genuinely think that Leah was not listening to Ebony when she said that Ebony, thought that voting was crucial. Leah in her mind was like already 4 thoughts ahead to when she was going to just blast Heather. She was like, okay, give me a reason. Did she say that about me? Okay, I'm out the door. Meanwhile, Ramona is alone up in her bathroom and she's trying to put lipstick on. And she says to herself, I wish everyone would stop screaming. They're giving me a headache. To be clear, one person is screaming and it's Leah. Leah walks out to the van first and she's like, so much for a fun night. So much for a fun fucking night. Because of you. I'm sorry, but you can only play the dying grandmother card so many times while you are still staying here and dressing up in costumes and going to parties. You either treat it like Ebony does, who is also losing a grandmother, and you hold it together and you keep the private things private, or if you truly are that distraught, go home. Be with her. Even if she can't respond, she might be able to hear you. She might be able to hear your voice. I can't stand the hypocrisy. I'm going to be here and cry about my grandmother the whole trip and possibly have her die while I'm here. I couldn't understand anyone who was going through a tragedy but still shows up to the party angry and sad, and then you make everyone else not have fun because you can't have fun. It's selfish and immature, and I mean, if this is the real Leah without alcohol in her, I don't know. Maybe it's the curse of the sophomore season. Seems like everybody who has like a knock it out of the park rookie season then has, you have nowhere to go but down. Then their sophomore season is like bad. And this is pretty bad for Leah. And it's about to get worse. Luann is the next to get into the van, and she said to Leah, do you have your hula hoops? And Leah goes, oh, fuck. Can you get them for me? And Luann goes, okay. Then Heather gets in the van. Leah, oh, no, could you please stay? I don't want to be in the van alone with her. Heather with the best line of the night, and I would not have thought it would come from Heather. Oh, relax, bitch. Here's a thought. Get your own damn hula hoops. You're the one that forgot them. Luann doesn't work for you. I'm surprised Luann even said yes. So Leah, of course, because she is so mature, she stands up. Who you calling a bitch? Throws her fake bouquet at Heather. Are you crazy? Luann's in the house now, and she calls out to everyone in the house, hurry up. We're going to kill each other in the van. Leah's getting out of the van. I'm not fucking going. Heather, oh my God, you're so dramatic. Leah heads back into the house. I'm not going with Heather. I don't want to see her. Luann, oh no, come on. Do you want me to take my car? We could go in my car. She's like, I'm not going. I'm not going to hang out with her. I'm going home to see my grandmother. Finally. Should have left days ago. What I really mean to say is you should not have come on this trip. Let's think about this whole trip. And it was a long one, right? They were there 5 days or something. I can't think of any part of the trip that Leah made better. It was a lot of getting into fights with Ramona, threatening not to go to the oyster farm or whatever. But instead of staying home and letting the others have fun at the oyster farm, no, she had to go, but she was silent. She's not speaking. That's what's so childish about her. She has to be the center of attention in the most childish way. Well, if I'm not going to have fun, you can't have fun either. Ugh, I can't wait for her to go home. Maybe the talent show will be fun without her. I don't know. But that is it. And of course, it's another to be continued because this whole season has just been one long episode. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm sorry about the way New York has been going here. It has been a lot of not so fun topics. but it is what's happening with the ladies, and I'm here to tell you about it. So I hope you can still find it entertaining. All right. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. I always love to hear what you guys are thinking. I'll see you for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New York City. Bye.